So when Jesus teaches his disciples that the meek shall inherit the earth, it's a really big deal. He's saying, listen, the people who are going to gain the ultimate inheritance are not the powerful, the mean, the oppressors all around you. What they gain is temporary. He's telling them there's an inheritance far greater than this little field over here or that section of land over there. For the meek will inherit the earth. It's a way of saying that what I have in store for them is bigger and better than anything that they could ever dream of. I mean, that's a pretty cool thing to think about. So the people who submit to the Father, the ones who are brave enough to trust God and have the courage to do what He tells them, the ones who are humble before God and serve the least of these around you, these are the meek. And they may not come from some well-known family name, and they may have little or no wealth here and now. But Jesus tells these people that there's going to be a day that they're going to receive a great inheritance. And He's given them this promise to trust Him that it's on the way. Welcome to the Journey Church Online. We're in the middle of a series going through the Beatitudes, and this week we're talking about mercy. So naturally, we're going to talk about water pressure and dams. Wondering how any of that relates to what Jesus said about mercy? Stick around and find out. Well, this is episode 7 in our series through the Beatitudes, and today we're taking a look at what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. He says this, God blesses those who work for peace, for they will see God. In other translations, it says, blessed are the peacemakers, but I really like the plain English way it's stated in the NLT version. God blesses those who work for peace. Gives us this idea right away that Jesus is pointing out that God is looking to bless people who are willing to work for peace. I don't know if you caught that, right? Work for it. Peace rarely comes by accident. Hey, welcome to the Journey Church. We are an online church for out-of-the-box people. No matter who you are, whether you're young, old, married, single, black, white, Asian, Latino, we want you to know that we're glad that you're here with us. Consider us your personal guide to help you get to know Jesus and understand the Bible so that you actually feel confident that you're on track and doing it, really being a Christian. So, looking at John chapter 4, picking up in verse 34, it says, "Then Jesus explained, 'My nourishment comes from doing the will of God who sent me and from finishing his work. You know the saying, 4 months between planting and harvest. But I say, wake up and look around. The fields are already ripe for harvest. The harvesters are paid good wages, and the fruit that they harvest is people brought to eternal life. What joy awaits both the planter and harvester alike. You know the saying, one plants and another harvests. It's true. I sent you to harvest where you didn't plant. Others had already done the work, and now you will get to gather the harvest." So that's it. That's his explanation. Hey, today I'm taking you to another really cool place. We're going to meet some amazing men. A father in his 80s, a son that's now middle-aged, and it's going to be a really cool conversation with them, learning about things that relate to the scripture that we're going to dig into today.
How many years I've been out here now?
50,
Coming 69.
54.
54 here. Yeah, and Larry Peterson come from North Dakota, come out here to, my uncle wanted us to come out. That's how I got out here. It wasn't for my uncle, I wouldn't be here. Because you just don't start farming unless you got some help.
Have you ever wondered what it means to really live your life as a Christian? Like, what's the point? What are you actually saved for? Hey, I want to invite you to join us as we explore the beauty of Banff National Park and we uncover the answers to those important questions. In this little 3-part mini-series, you're going to see real-life examples, breathtaking scenery, and we're going to delve into the unique ways in which God helps you discover and remember your new identity and purpose. This series is not only informative, but it's also visually stunning. Don't miss the opportunity to grow in your faith and be inspired to live the full life that God created you for. Hit subscribe, make sure you catch these 3 episodes. Hey there, fellow adventure seekers. Are you ready to embark on a journey like no other? Well, get ready because we have something epic in store for you. That feeling when you're glued to the TV, you're watching those brave people on that show Alone. Man, I cannot get enough of it. I love that show. If you haven't heard of it yet, let me fill you in a little bit on the excitement. It's been around a while, so you've probably heard of it. But Alone is all about survival. Picture this, 10 fearless individuals. They document their daily struggles as they battle it out in the wild. It's not really a competition during the day-to-day stuff, no tasks that they have to do, just one goal, survive. And get this, the last one standing takes home a whopping prize of $500,000. So these survival experts have to brave the elements, find their own food and shelter, and then stay healthy all on their own. Talk about a challenge. I don't know if you knew this, but 8 out of the 10 seasons of The Alone Show were filmed right here in the rugged and harsh wilderness of Canada. And that got us thinking about a pretty cool idea. if our Christian walk was just like that awesome survival show? Imagine being chosen to participate in a Christian survival experiment. You're provided with the basic supplies for life, but when it comes to the Bible, you can only choose a small section. You would only get a handful of verses to guide you on your journey as a Christian in the wilds of the world. Well, that's the idea behind this brand new series, the Soma series. Soma stands for the Sermon on the Mount alone. And we believe that you can not only survive as a Christian, but actually thrive as a follower of Christ with just the 18 life-changing lessons that Jesus taught in the Sermon on the Mount. Each week, we'll dive deep into one of those powerful teachings, exploring not only what Jesus taught, but also why he taught it. But here's the real challenge. We're also going to be wrestling with how to put these principles into action in our lives, right here, right now, in the world that we live in. Picture this: breathtaking scenery, rugged mountains, and some serious challenges that are going to push us to our limits for sure. In the weeks ahead, we're going to be traveling from the Canadian Rockies here where we are today near Banff, Alberta. We're going to go into the farthest northwest corner of British Columbia, and then from there up into the Northwest Territories. We're going to film these life-changing lessons on location, just like they did in the Alone series. Well, get ready to immerse yourself in the Soma Challenge. You're going to discover the 18 teachings from Jesus that you can live by. And we're going to show you how to not just survive as a Christian, but really thrive. But listen, this isn't just about watching a series. We're challenging you to step up to the plate. So I have a question. Are you ready? Are you ready to take action to truly live out these teachings in your own life? Here's the thing, it's time to gear up and join us on this adventure of a lifetime. We're going to trek through the wilderness and uncover the secrets to living a righteous life, one that is in perfect sync with God's plan for you. Here's the deal. Maybe you didn't grow up in a Christian home, or you've never read a lot of the Bible or the Old Testament. Heck, maybe you've never even stepped foot in a church. But I want you to know you can still embark on this incredible journey. By mastering these 18 lessons from Jesus, you'll be living a life that aligns with God's will, earning yourself a warm welcome in heaven one day with those cherished words we all want to hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And let me tell you a little secret. Our filming locations couldn't be more perfect, surrounded by all of this breathtaking beauty. And then as we head up to the northernmost edge of British Columbia, we're gonna make our way eventually past that, even all the way up to the shores of Great Slave Lake in Northwest Territories. We're gonna bring you some of the most awe-inspiring scenes that you've ever laid eyes on, and then we're gonna explore these life-changing teachings every stop of the way. Don't just watch the series, be a part of it. Better yet, find some friends and go through this series together. It's time to step up to the plate, friends. Accept the challenge, put your faith into action, experience the incredible power of living out these 18 teachings from Jesus. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and get ready to embark on this extraordinary, I can't say extraordinary. Get ready to embark on an extraordinary adventure that kicks off Father's Day weekend. Together, let's conquer the Soma Challenge and discover the path of
lost and hopeless, when I was at my worst, it's grace that you extended that I did not deserve. I am so amazed by all you have done. I cannot explain the depth of your love. Limits can't contain the heart of you, God. I'm amazed at the depth of your love. Your mercy came and found me, gave me a second birth. I'm overwhelmed and grateful. You took what I deserve. I am so amazed by all you have done. I cannot explain the depth of your love. Limits can't contain the heart of you, God. I'm amazed at the depth of your love. And I am so amazed by all you have done. I cannot explain the depth of your love. Limits can't contain the heart of you, God. I'm amazed at the depth of your love. Hallelujah. Love has made a way. Hallelujah. Forever I give thanks. Hallelujah. Love has made a way. Hallelujah. Yeah, forever I give thanks. Oh, and I am so amazed by all you have done. I cannot explain the depth of your love. Limits can't contain the heart of you, God. I'm amazed at the depth of your love. Oh, and I am so amazed by all you have done. I cannot explain the depth of your love. Limits can't contain the heart of you, God. I'm amazed at the depth of your love. I'm amazed at the depth of your love. Yeah.
All right. Ready?
We're ready.
Hey, we're going to take you guys on an adventure up to,
Grassy lakes.
or grassy.
Grassy lake.
Grassy.
Grassy.
We'll see if there's any grass in these lakes.
There's no grassy.
I'll be the judge of that.
Has nothing to do with it.
Hey, welcome to the Journey Church Online. We are an out-of-the-box church for people everywhere. Speaking of people everywhere, there are people everywhere. We are in the Canadian Rocky Mountains, not far from Banff National Park, in a little town called Canmore, and we're here to kick off a series we're calling the SOMA series. Stands for the Sermon on the Mount Alone. And here's the idea behind this whole series. The Bible as a whole can be pretty intimidating, and learning to be a disciple of Jesus can be confusing. Some places tell you that you got to go to certain classes, and other places say there's certain groups that you've got to be a part of. But the idea behind this series is, what if we stripped all that away and just took Jesus at his word? After all, Jesus is the one that gave the Great Commission, where he told his followers to go into all the nations, making disciples, baptizing them, and teaching them to obey everything that he commanded them. Today, We're going to take you to a cool little place called Grassy Lakes. Some of the most stunning, beautiful little lakes you'll ever lay your eyes on. And then when we get up there, we're going to teach you lesson number 1 from the Sermon on the Mount. So we'll see you in there.
We are here, and this is one of 2 of the grassy lakes. And every time I come up, no matter how many times, I am absolutely blown away by their beauty. It just, there's just something about them. The colors, the clarity, just the way they're shaped, everything. It's just so, so cool. So we really hope that we can capture all of this and just really pique your interest to come and see them yourself.
All right, we're going to give you a little sneak peek into a view of the lakes that probably nobody, I don't know about nobody, but 1 in a million people have probably ever seen. So sit backs with both of your backs.
Stand.
Or stand.
Or walk.
Or lay.
Or whatever you're doing while you're watching
Get comfortable. You're about to see some cool stuff. All right, let's go.
This. Okay.
All right, let's get to the first lesson from Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. We're going to be looking at that passage in Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16. And here's what he says. You are the salt of the earth, but what good is salt if it's lost its flavor? Can you make it salty again? It will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless. You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your good deeds shine out for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father. So, rather than take the boring old trail through the woods, that's seemingly safe and
Well-marked.
well, I don't know about well marked, but lower risk, we decided to traverse the face of this shale covered cliff because, it seemed like a good idea. But we just had to laugh at ourselves because we managed to often figure out how to get to places the hard way. But I guess that helps us appreciate it even more when we get there.
You guys know which way not to go.
Yeah.
Learn from our mistakes.
Learn from our mistakes. All right, up and away. finally made it up here to a sweet spot that is gorgeous in every direction. And as happens a lot when you're way up in the mountains, we've got a storm brewing. So we're gonna give you lesson 2 from the Sermon on the Mount and storm style. So let's hope we don't get pelted with rain and totally soaked while we're up here. So we're gonna just jump right in and see how this all plays out. I don't know. Before we jump into the text, I want to take a minute to remember some of the bigger picture going on before we get into this particular passage. Jesus had begun his public ministry, and he's traveling around Jerusalem and the area to the north called the Galilee. He's out there doing ministry, he's healing the sick, he's casting out demons, he's teaching in the synagogues, and everywhere he goes, he seems to be hanging out with some pretty messy, sinful people. The Pharisees and religious leaders of the day were what you would call ultra-conservative. They were all about knowing the Old Testament rules and laws and sticking with them really strictly. And they were honestly really struggling with what to do with Jesus. On the one hand, he seemed to be righteous, and he knew the scriptures, and he taught with authority. But on the other hand, he was doing things and spending time with people that made them really uncomfortable. To the Pharisees, it seemed as if Jesus was inviting everyone into the kingdom, forgiving sins of some really messy, damaged people based on some of the things he was doing on the Sabbath. They even started to speculate that maybe he didn't even care about the law. And that was a really dangerous idea for the Pharisees and religious leaders, one that they would actually be willing to execute him for. So it's no accident that Jesus says what he says in Matthew chapter 5, verses 17 through 20. I want to share that passage with you, and then we're going to circle back and unpack it. So stick with me on this one. It's kind of a thinker. You're going to have to keep your thinking cap on and keep praying that I don't get soaked by rain over here. Here's how the passage goes. He says, "Don't misunderstand why I have come. I did not come to abolish the law of Moses or the writings of the prophets. No, I came to accomplish their purpose. I tell you the truth, until heaven and earth disappear, not even the smallest detail of God's law will disappear until all its purpose is achieved. So, if you ignore the least commandment and teach others to do the same, you will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But anyone who obeys God's laws and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven." Then he goes on to say, "But I warn you, unless your righteousness is better than the righteousness of the teachers of the religious law and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." It's as if Jesus is standing there, getting rolling with this message, this sermon that he's preaching in the Sermon on the Mount, and he looks out across the crowd and he sees a number of Pharisees out there in the crowd, just sitting there, looking at him, listening carefully, looking down their noses and snickering. And then Jesus rolls out all this bit about the law. It's like he was saying it just for his accusers, and everyone else basically heard it kind of like a witness. Here's what I think the Pharisees and religious leaders would have heard Jesus say that day in the crowd. There are those of you here who think that I'm weak on the law, who think that I don't care about the writings of the prophets. But listen up, you accusers. I far more than care about the law. In my life, the law is made complete. Not one bit of it is not important. In fact, I'll state right here for the record that anyone who makes light of the law or teaches it wrongly or tries to change it, even in the smallest way, will be a virtual nobody in the kingdom. But anyone who obeys God's laws and teaches others to do the same will be called great in the kingdom. You see, it's like Jesus' way of addressing his critics right there publicly for everyone to see and hear. All right, Storm is holding out. As you can see behind me, there are rain clouds and storm clouds in every direction. We got a little wind, but I think with a little magic of editing, we can take care of the audio, and hopefully that all turns out great. But I think we are hanging in there. There's some blue skies coming. I can see it. Come on, bring back some blue skies. Well, literally, we are just wrapping this thing up and here comes the rain. It is just black storm clouds, although you can see some blue sky behind us. So I think we're gonna hang out in the trees for a minute. All the way up there on the top of that ridge is where we were headed today. I don't know if we're gonna make it or not, but stick around and let's see if we make it to the top or if we start working our way back down. It kind of depends on how crazy this storm gets. All right, we're gonna wrap it up, go hide in the trees, hang around to see what happens with this crazy adventure. Episode would not be complete without drawing a little blood. Not too bad. Gouged the thumb a bit, biffed it, climbing through all of these sticks. It's like climbing through a giant pile of pickup sticks. Some are round and they roll. Ask me how I know. Last week we ended up filming and storms rolled in, and as luck would have it, this week we're filming for Lesson 3 in the Sermon on the Mount series, and the storms, woo, they are a brewing. You can hear thunder and lightning cracking in the mountains behind us, and so We're gonna cross our fingers and hopefully we get this episode filmed without getting completely soaked. Who knows how this is gonna go? Let's dive in. This week, we're taking a look at lesson number 3 from Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, and it's all about anger. And what's interesting when we think about anger is I think we almost always imagine the loud, red-in-the-face person, a road rage person, or a ticked-off teenager, or somebody that's ready to fight. We tend to imagine anger as pretty one-dimensional. And the thing is, that can actually create a problem for us. And the reason is it can set you up to allow other kinds of anger to take root and go unchecked in your hearts. Now, you may be thinking, wait a minute, isn't anger just anger? I mean, what's the deal? There's actually different kinds of anger? We'll get into that. Well, I wanted to give you a visual to help you get a better understanding of some of the different kinds of anger. And today we've worked our way back into the wilderness in kind of central northern Alberta and found this huge burned out area here next to the Saskatchewan River. A couple of months ago, we weren't sure if we would be able to travel up here because of all of the wildfire activity. Thankfully, there's been a lot of rain. As you can see, we're getting more of it right now here coming in behind us. And a lot of the fires that were up here are under control around us, but you can still see a lot of the remnants of this scorched landscape. This area we're in here was probably burned out many years ago and is now starting to regrow. You see, anger is a lot like fire. There's different kinds of fire, but all of them can hurt you, or worse yet, hurt the people around you. I have a epic spot picked out to go do some filming, and Kayla thinks it's a bad idea. Which, if you're a normal guy like me, when your wife says that's probably a bad idea, what do you automatically think? You think? We must go. There's not a little danger in your life, you're not living. Let's go have some fun. Well, at this point, Jesus is well into his famous Sermon on the Mount when he looked at the crowd gathered before him, and he may have said some words, something to the effect of this. It's easy to see that there are so many of you here from so many different areas, so many different families, but despite all your differences, there's one thing that I'm sure all of you have in common. It's a teaching from Moses, and I have no doubt that all of you know it and believe it's true. Well, I could just imagine the crowd murmuring and looking about at each other, wondering what teaching from Moses Jesus could be referring to. After all, there were so many, and it was no secret that not everyone agreed on all of those teachings. People would be whispering under their breath to those nearby, "Which law do you think it is? Do you have a guess?" Well, then I imagine Jesus might have told them something like this. You all know that Moses taught that you should not commit adultery. You're never supposed to sleep with another person's spouse. Immediately, you could see all the faces in the crowd nod in agreement. You'd hear people kind of whispering to each other, "Oh, that's the one. He was right. Everybody does agree on that teaching." But then comes the real kicker from Jesus, when he'd say something like, "Okay, it's plain to see that all of you agree on this teaching about adultery, but before you start feeling overconfident and thinking that just because you've never gone out and had an affair that you're completely pure and wholesome, I have something more I want to teach you. And then so I'm tucked back here in the woods, but just about maybe 20 feet straight in front of me on the other side of the camera is a huge cliff that drops off to a raging river. There's actually two rivers that join together right around the corner. You probably can hear some of the static river noise going on in the background. And as we film the episode, we'll see how it goes. I might get a chance to get out closer to the edge and show you around some of this amazing scenery. Otherwise, I'm gonna be tucked back here a little bit so that you can actually hear the audio, because when you get close to the bank, it is deafening. Well, this is episode 6 in our Sermon on the Mount series, and today we're diving into Matthew chapter 5, verse 33 through 37. Hey, don't miss out on the rest of this incredible adventure here at the confluence of the mighty Liard River and I don't even remember the name of the other river. I'll have to put it up on screen. We have been so many places and seen so many rivers in the last several weeks. They're literally running all together. Hey, if you want to watch the whole thing and explore this whole area, wait for the video to pop up on screen for the link. You can check that out. If you've missed maybe the last episode, there'll be a video that pops up on screen as well. Be sure to subscribe, like this stuff, share your thoughts, drop us a comment. We're excited that you're with us, and have fun checking out the rest of this place with us when the video pops up. So until then, we'll see you from wherever we are out there. Oh, this is going to test the perseverance skills with 10 million mosquitoes. All right, here we go. For this episode, we're 1,500 miles north of the US-Canada border in an area that was once teeming with gold miners. We ventured well off the beaten path to discover some fascinating relics of this bygone era. We're going to be filming this one near the remains of a dredge and pressure box. The dredge was brought in at great expense near 1906 for the sole purpose of digging a canal 5 miles long and 26 feet wide to divert water from a glacial lake above into this pressure box. From there, the water flowed downhill, gaining speed and pressure to be used by miners at the bottom of the canyon to blast away at the bank with something that looked a lot like a fire hose. How do you handle it when somebody does you wrong? They cut in front of you in line, or they have an angry outburst right in your face. Faced? Maybe not even your face, but just your face. What if they stole from you and broke into your house or busted out a car window? I think all of us know it's pretty natural to want to get even, to fight back, or even worse. But Jesus teaches something radically different. You've probably all heard about Jesus saying this thing, to turn the other cheek. And to be honest, I think that a lot of people, that's the last thing you want to do. If somebody hits you, you just want to stand there like a wimp and tell them, oh, it's all good, no worries, please hit me again, I don't mind. The truth is, most people completely miss the point when it comes to what Jesus taught about getting even or even handling bullies or jerks. So stick around, because I think it's gonna blow your mind when you hear what Jesus was really teaching. He gives 3 examples to make his case. And if you'll take these points to heart, I can promise you it's gonna change the way you handle revenge forever. And it has nothing to do with you becoming some kind of pansy or pacifist or a wimp. Glad you're here with us. I'm Thad. This is the Journey Church Online, and we're dishing out lesson number 7 from Jesus in our Sermon on the Mount series. So buckle up. This is going to be a good one. welcome to episode 7 in our Sermon on the Mount series. If you missed the other episodes, be sure to check them out. We've touched on anger, divorce, serving others, adultery, and more. And all of those episodes have been filmed in some pretty epic locations throughout the Canadian Rocky Mountains. So be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. And if you want to learn more about Kayla and I and this out-of-the-box approach to ministry, be sure to check out our website. It's pretty easy, YourJesusJourney.com. Well, Jesus is in the middle of this big teaching that we all know as the Sermon on the Mount. And at the time, it was just a long series of lessons from Jesus in one day, right? This all day long thing where he's been teaching and stretching his audience with the things that he was saying. He's doing these things where he says, you've heard it said that this is the right thing, but I'm here to teach you that it goes even deeper than that. Well, those lessons were tough and they were cutting to the heart of some really hard topics. And then he leans into this topic of revenge, something everybody could relate to. He starts out reminding them of something that they all knew. We see it in Matthew chapter 5, verse 38. He says, you've heard that the law says that the punishment must match the injury, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And you can just picture everybody in the crowd nodding in agreement. Maybe they're even thinking, finally, there's something easy for all of us to follow. I mean, after all, everybody loves justice, right? Getting even. But what Jesus said next probably challenged the crowd more than anything that he had taught so far. So, people over our pride, people over our possessions. You probably always thought that stuff about turning the other cheek was about not fighting back or not getting revenge. It turns out Jesus was way more concerned with the lengths that you would go to so that people will know that they matter to you, that you genuinely care about them no matter what the circumstances. Living that way is the kind of thing that will transform your heart and touch their hearts for everybody that you meet. And it's exactly what Jesus was hoping for. I really have got to ask God, what was the point of mosquitoes? It is so hard to focus and stay on track and remember what I'm supposed to say when there are a billion mosquitoes going in and out of my nose and up my mouth and in my eyes and in my ears. And it's awesome. You should really be here. If you're finding these lessons helpful, by all means, please subscribe. And beyond that, we'd love to invite you to partner with us financially. Your support helps us continue to teach the Bible and serve others as we go. You can find the link to donate to the Journey Church in the description, or just jump right over to our website at YourJesusJourney.com and click on the Give tab at the top of the website. We're sure glad you're here with us for this one. If you want to learn more about this really cool place with this old dredge here, stick around for the next video that's coming up. We've also got another video popping up of just a fun adventure to a nearby town of Atlin, BC, where some of this amazing mining history took place. So we'll share more about that in the videos to come. If you missed any of the other episodes, stick around, watch those, all that good stuff. We are headed further north this week, up into Yukon territory. Lord willing, I would like to think there's going to be less mosquitoes, but I highly doubt it. But whether there's bugs or not, we're coming back at you next week with lesson number 8 from somewhere out there. Today we are hiking up a beautiful mountain outside of Haines, Alaska. We're currently partway up the hike in a place called Moose Meadows. And as we sit here, I am sinking into this meadow. So we're going to show you more of this place as we go. My name's Thad. This is the Journey Church Online. Be sure to check out the website where you can learn more about us and find study guides to go along with each and every video we put out, and discover how you can go from just watching out there to actually plugged in and connecting with other people like you who want to stay on track and grow as followers of Jesus. The website is super easy to navigate. It's chocked full of great stuff, including nearly 50 blog posts. So when you're done here, be sure to head over to YourJesusJourney.com and check it out. Now, before I get completely sunk into this bog, it's time to get rolling with lesson number 8 from Jesus in our Sermon on the Mount series. Well, in a passage in our Bibles that we know as the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus shared this lesson. It shows up in Matthew chapter 5, verses 43 through 48. He says, "You have heard the law that says, 'Love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I say, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. In that way, you will be acting as true children of your Father in heaven. For he gives his sunlight to both the evil and the good, and he sends rain on the just and the unjust alike. If you love only those who love you, what reward is there for that? Even corrupt tax collectors do that much. If you are kind only to your friends, how are you different from anyone else? Even pagans do that. But you are to be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect." Well, the world has become so difficult, so divided, so many enemies, so many people at odds with God and his ways that his followers were losing their way. So Jesus gives another radical lesson meant to grab people by the shoulders and look them square in the eye and say, wake up, snap out of it. You're veering off the path and you're doing things and saying things that God is not okay with. Worst of all, you're not representing him on the way as you go. So this lesson from Jesus was an alarm going off, calling people to drop their agendas, to drop all the ways that they justify their behaviors and to just get back on the path that God marked out for them. And Jesus doesn't sugarcoat it. Right off the bat, he tells them, love your enemies and pray for the people that are against you and against what you believe. If you do this, then you're starting to look like a true follower of God. A God, mind you, who is willing to send sun and rain on the people like you and the people like them. In other words, if God is willing to be a light and offer life to those people just as much as he is to you, then who are you to do something different? Jesus is telling them back then, and he's telling you now, stop it. Stop with your pettiness. As people who know God, you know better. God is and always has been a God who is for all people. And the best way to make sure people learn all of those things is by actually really believing it and walking it out yourself. So we're going to go do a little more exploring and enjoy a mountaintop sunset. So stick around, I'll share more of that with you, and be sure to catch some of the other great videos that pop up here in just a minute. We'll see you next week from wherever we are out there.
held down by all the weight. Yeah, I know you're feeling lonely. Your smile ain't the same. Not sure where to go from here. Feel like you've lost your way. Yeah. Don't give up, no, don't give in. Never lose hope, don't let go of the promise. It ain't done, yeah, he's got a plan. Watch him rain down, got a miracle. Watch him rain down, got a miracle. I can see the strength inside you. Child, you're putting up a fight. Oh, you're stronger than you think you are. Yeah, you're gonna be alright. You're accepted, loved, and valued. Beautiful, you're shining bright. Yeah, you're living, breathing, moving. You can hold your head up high. Don't give up, no, don't give in. Never lose hope, don't let go of the promise. It ain't done yet, he's got a plan. Watch him rain down, the God of miracles. Don't give up, no, don't give in. Never lose hope, don't let go of the promise. It ain't done, life is worth living. Watch him rain down, the God of miracles. Watch him rain down, the God of miracles. Oh yeah. Watch him rain down, the God of miracles. Oh yeah. The God of miracles. Oh yeah. Don't give up, no, don't give in. Never lose hope, don't let go of the promise. It ain't done, yeah, he's got a plan. Watch him rain down, the God of miracles. Don't give up, no, don't give in. Never lose hope, don't let go of the promise. It ain't done, life is worth living. Watch him rain down, the God of miracles. Oh, the God of miracles. Watch him rain down, the God of miracles.
Hey there, welcome to lesson number 11 in our Sermon on the Mount series. We are in remote northern Canada still. We've been there for a while if you've been following along with some of our episodes. And today we are on an amazing lake that I can't wait to show you some of the footage from flying the drone around this place. I've never seen anything like it. We're standing here on the edge of this really cool beaver dam that actually has a lot to do with the lesson that Jesus is going to teach from Matthew today. So we're going to dig into that one and show you around this super cool place. So let's go. Here behind me is a dam that stands probably 5 or 6 feet tall, and it is just a work of art, really. We'll take you around and show you. And the thing that's so cool about beavers is they're just so doggone industrious. Like, they seem to just know how to figure it all out, whether it's damming up a creek or, in this case, this gigantic leg of this lake, actually stockpiling all this water up behind them. They know how to build the perfect home to survive some of the most harsh conditions, and stockpile even food for the winter. And so I think when we think about beavers, we often think about how industrious they are and how good they are at what they really need to do to survive. And I also think it's a thing that a lot of people aspire to, like to be like a beaver, to be busy and industrious, and to know how to figure out how to do everything you need to survive on your own. I also think that it's exactly the opposite of what Jesus teaches about this particular subject in the Sermon on the Mount. I think the beaver is the perfect example for the Western mind, the way we think in North America. It is all about being busy, being industrious, knowing how to solve the problems in front of you, figuring out how to do whatever you need to provide for yourself, for your family, and at best, if you could do it without having to ask for help, that's even better. And if you could find everything you need on your own and survive the harshest conditions that life can throw at you, then you're a huge success. But contrary to what works for the beaver, Jesus has something else in mind when it comes to how we strive and achieve and store up for ourselves things of worth and value. The beaver would store up everything that he needs to get through the winter. His treasure is a huge pile of logs with bark stored up underground or underwater so that when the ice freezes over, they've got everything they need to survive the winter. And for us people, we tend to store up our wealth in banks and resources and retirement funds and 401ks and real estate and all of this stuff. And our treasure looks a little bit different than a beaver's, obviously, but it is nonetheless very similar. It is the things that we think we need in order to be secure, to be able to survive whatever is coming, no matter how long we live. But Jesus has a different idea. In the Sermon on the Mount, he breaks out a whole new concept, a brand new idea about savings and storing up treasure for yourself. Whoa, that didn't work. Well, when it comes to how you save things up and what you store up, our treasure, our ultimate retirement, Jesus has a completely different approach than most of the Western world. In fact, most of the known world. We tend to like to store up things where we can grab a hold of them. We can go make a withdrawal from the bank. But
So where are you located?
On the road.
We live full time.
On the road?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Travel all
You
over.
look a little young for being fully retired.
We just make it up with the job. Yep.
Work as we go, yeah.
Yep.
YouTube channel or?
We do have a YouTube channel. We teach the Bible. So
Okay.
we do, we've got different stuff going on where we teach the Bible. Kind of like taking church outside of the building, outside the box.
Good.
And
That's pretty much it here, right?
Yeah.
right, like this is God made life.
so we're over here teaching about money and possessions and treasure, and along comes a guy out of the wilderness, literally, and starts sharing his story with us. And it's a story of finding freedom after retiring, getting out of the rat race, and just living a much simpler life. And kind of funny that the lesson we're teaching is so related to that. It's not exactly that, but it's really on that vein. And we are in a remote area in the middle of nowhere, and to have somebody just pop out of the woods, and that's what we end up talking about. Shocker. Well, this idea of storing up treasure in heaven instead of on earth is something that Kayla and I have really tried to take to heart, especially in the last year or two. We really sensed God calling us to go a little over a year ago, and so we sold our home. We sold most of the possessions that we own, and just leaned out as much as we could and really downsized into a fifth wheel and a truck. And we've been traveling, just really going where God leads to teach the Bible in a creative way, to connect with people and help people get to know and grow in their relationship with Jesus. And in order to do that, we had to really think about, like, what is our treasure and where are we storing it up? Because the way we used to make money, a paycheck every 2 weeks or a paycheck every month, a set amount of money we knew about that would be coming in, is not happening anymore. And so to do this mission, to live the way we sense God calling us to live, we are really taking him at his word that we're going to store up treasure in heaven by following through and being obedient on the calling that he's put in our lives, as opposed to pursuing a job with a steady paycheck and pursuing a retirement plan. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, if I don't know if you've ever tried to live this way or not, but it is, one, not easy. Two, it is pretty uncomfortable at times, because there are nerves about where is the next amount of money going to come from, and are we going to be able to make ends meet? Although we are debt free and we live as lean as we can, we do still have bills. We have insurance and things to pay for. We have fuel to pay for, different supplies or things that break down and repairs that need to be made. And so inevitably, it seems like we continue to find ourselves in those predicaments where we're wondering, where is it going to come from? How are we going to provide? And it's lessons like these that remind us that, man, if God can provide for the lilies of the field, if God says that he provides for the birds of the air, and how much more does he love us? We have to just trust him and take him at his word, that he wasn't joking, that if we really lean in, we focus on storing up treasure in heaven, that he is more than able and willing to take care of us, which is not always the easiest lesson to learn, but we keep learning it one day after the other. Be sure to drop us a comment. Let us know. Are you more like a lily of the field, a bird of the air? Do you find it easy to trust God at his word, that he's going to provide for you and he'll look out for you even more than he does those things? Or do you sort of naturally default a little bit more like the beaver? Are you industrious and try to take care of everything yourself and provide everything that you need for you and your family on your own? I don't know. I naturally think more like a beaver. And so it is work for me to let go of my own kind of natural tendencies in order to trust God to provide and meet my needs. So we've got a long ways to paddle on the way back, and the smoke has rolled in from a fire north of us here on the other end of the lake. It's a ways away, but the smoke is blown in. So it is changing the air quality a little bit and kind of taking the fun out of it. Hopefully the winds shift for us and we get those beautiful blue skies back. But there is my lovely bride sitting over there on the beach with Tucker, getting ready to roll. We're going to jump in the kayaks and throw up the drone and show you around one of the most unique and amazing places that honestly we have ever seen. So hope you enjoyed this lesson. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And we can't wait to see you next week from wherever we are out there. So now that Jesus has their attention with something concrete, he goes on to make his point again, this time using hyperbole, which is just a way to say that he's about to really exaggerate things to make his point. I actually use hyperbole a lot when I talk about fish that we catch. Like, It was huge. We fought it forever. You should have felt how heavy it was. You could barely lift it. I like talking about fish, and I'm quite good at hyperbole when talking about my fishing trips. But I digress. Let's get back to Matthew. So Matthew chapter 7, verses 3 through 5 goes like this. He says, "Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, 'Let me take that speck out of your eye,' when all the time there's a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." It would be so much easier if we actually saw people walking around with these big boards in their eyes, or maybe just a little speck of some sawdust. I think it would just be hilarious, but it would certainly be easier. It'd be a lot harder to walk up to somebody with a giant board in your eye and say, "Hey, I don't know if you noticed, you got a little splinter over there," if it was literal, which is why the exaggeration makes a lot of sense, and it's kind of ridiculous, but you get the point. Just a few minutes ago, it was sunny and beautiful, and there's eagles chirping, and there were these cool seals swimming in this little estuary here. Boy, minute by minute, the weather sure does change around here. In fact, as the tide comes in, I may be walking in water here in a minute. So I better stay on track and keep focused on the lesson at hand. I better get out of here. My wife is backing up the truck because the tide is coming in, and she came running over to grab the keys saying the ocean is coming to get me. So we're gonna go explore the rest of this cool little town, Hyder. We've got some other amazing videos from some glacier exploration that we did around here. So be sure to check out the rest of the videos on our channel. We're excited, and we'll see you next week from wherever we are out there. This is crazy. Like, you can't see this, and I wish I could quickly flip the camera around. I'll try and get some cool shots. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 15 golden eagles. Prior to coming here, I've probably only seen a few golden eagles in my life. And on top of that, there's probably another 20 bald eagles, all riding the wind right above and around me. It is amazing. I don't know if you can see that, but there are thousands and thousands of seagulls. The screen is completely covered in water, so I have no idea what you can see, but it is so cool. Tide's coming in, birds are excited. That means the dinner is on the way. Thankfully, Tucker, my animal wildlife alert watchdog, is really terrible at his job because he had no idea that there was a big old bull elk walking right up here in the direction that we were filming. So I'm gonna shut all this off and I'm gonna get quiet. It is, ooh, here he comes. All right, here we go. Over the past few months, Kayla and I have been traveling throughout some of the most remote and rugged country that Canada has to offer. We've gone to some really amazing places, all in the spirit of bringing the Bible to life in a way that makes sense and in a way that's interesting and keeps people's attention. So far, it has been amazing. By the way, if you don't know, I'm Thad, and this is the Journey Church Online. We're about to dive into lesson number 13 in our Sermon on the Mount series. Let's go. Somewhere along the way, we learned about the first telegraph line to connect Alaska with the lower mainland. It was really a cool thing to learn about. It was a crazy undertaking to physically connect these two areas with a continuous, unbroken telegraph wire. Over 2,000 miles of cable was actually laid underwater along the coastlines. And then there was hundreds and hundreds of miles of cables that were laid inland, going up and over some of the most rugged terrain imaginable. Years and years of effort went into this project, followed by years of repairing and refining things to try and adapt to the harsh ocean currents and then the massive snowfall inland. Well, the perseverance paid off because in the early 1900s, the messages started to flow back and forth from Washington State all the way up north to Alaska. Messages that used to take months or more were now arriving in just minutes. It's not hard to imagine all the ways that this would have impacted the people living in those remote areas. None of which would have been possible without the dedication and hard work and perseverance of the men and women that stuck with it all those years to ensure that those telegraph lines would actually be completed. In our modern world, it's so easy to completely take for granted how easy it is for us to communicate with each other. How a cell phone works is beyond me. And now, with Starlink, we can be plugged into the communication grid from literally anywhere, and we have been. And how all that works, I have no idea, but I am so grateful for those amazing advances and how easy it is for us to stay plugged in. Well, this week, we're looking at a passage in Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 through 11. It's a passage where Jesus talks about prayer. And I think there's a lot to learn about communicating with God by remembering how hard communication used to be and how easy it is now. So let's take a look at what Jesus says, and then we're going to break it down in just a second. Keep on asking, and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking, and you will find. Keep on knocking, and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, everyone who seeks finds, and to everyone who knocks, the door will be opened. Then Jesus goes on to say, you parents, if your children ask for a loaf of bread, do you give them a stone instead? Or if they ask for a fish, do you give them a snake? Of course not. So, if you sinful people know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your heavenly Father give good gifts to those who ask Him? Well, if you recall earlier in His sermon, Jesus had already talked about prayer. There's a section in there where He started out by teaching people how not to pray. He basically told them, don't pray for show like the overly religious Jews were doing. They're standing on the street corners, making a big fuss of everything, praying really loud, trying to make a scene of how righteous or holy or religious they were. And then He said, likewise, don't pray like the Gentiles are doing either. They pray to their gods, and they seem to have these certain words or phrases that they just say over and over, like it's some sort of magic word to get their God to do what they want. And then Jesus went on to actually tell them how to pray. We covered all that back in lesson number 10 on prayer and fasting. So if you missed that one, be sure to click the link and go check it out. So now that we know that He talked about how not to pray like the Jews, how not to pray like the Gentiles, He did talk about how you should pray. What is all this other stuff coming up now about asking and seeking and just all this extra talk on prayer? Continuing to pray for the same thing over and over an extended period of time is a way of helping us refine what we're thinking. And I think it helps us reflect on what we're really asking for, to ponder and wonder the kind of good things that God would want for us. it helps us slow down and think, like, am I just selfishly praying for what I want over and over? Or is the more I seek and ask and knock and keep going back to the Lord with these prayers, does it refine and shape and change what I'm actually praying for, in line with what God really wanted to give me to begin with? I don't know. I think that might be what Jesus is teaching us here. Well, there's all sorts of great lessons that you could draw from these particular passages, and some great discussions to be had. So, whoa, almost fell on my face. So if you're watching this, call 911. No, just kidding, don't do that. I'm all right. Seriously though, if you're watching this, I want to encourage you to do two things. First of all, go to the website, download the free study guide that goes along with this episode. That's an easy one. Second, this one's going to take a little bit more effort, but well worth it. I want you to think about who you could invite to discuss this episode with. In fact, it would be awesome if you thought of somebody and then sent them the link to this video. Then the two of you, or more maybe, get together in person or even on a Zoom and just dive into the study guide together. Woo, the sun came out all of a sudden. It is blazing beautiful. It is cool, but gorgeous. All right, here's the thing. When it comes to being a disciple of Jesus and learning and growing in your relationship with Him and maturing as a disciple, it is not meant to be a solo act. So, who are you going to do it with? What friends are you going to get together with and dig in and study the Word of God with? Who's on your heart? Who's on your mind? Hoping? You're a good helper? Thanks for not scaring off the elk. That was cool. Well, hey, after the last 4 months of exploring and traveling through some really rugged northern Canada territory and Alaska, we are nearing our time to head south. Next week, we're going to be coming to you from somewhere back in the United States. At least that's what we think is the plan. All plans are subject to God's immediate change. But before we get there and before we check out of this place, I want to share some of our favorite scenes over the last few months of the wild and beautiful Northlands of Canada and Alaska. So before you take off, enjoy this little zip around some beautiful country. Today, we're gonna kayak up a river with a handful of friends to explore the ruins of a once world-famous archaeological site, a place where archaeologists unearthed some ancient human remains that turned out to be among the oldest ever discovered. I'm pretty excited to dive into this discovery. It also happens to be a great place to unpack a lesson from Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. It's a section in the Sermon on the Mount where he teaches about something that is really important to each and every one of you: foundations. Yeah, wait, what? Yep, you heard it right, foundations. As in what you build your house on. And you might be thinking about right now, looking at the scenery around me and archaeological sites and all that stuff, and thinking, I don't really see any houses, and aren't you at a river? I mean, how's this all gonna come together? You're gonna just have to trust me. We have a cool foundation surprise in store for you. Something no one has ever said, a cool foundation surprise. Like, is there such a thing? I don't know. You're gonna have to stick around and see if it's cool or lame. I don't know. We're gonna find out. But I think it's gonna come together, and it's gonna help you understand one of the most famous lessons that Jesus ever taught. So let's go check it out. Hey, thanks for tuning in. My name is Thad, and this is the Journey Church Online. And unlike a traditional church where you go to a building and sit down to listen to a sermon, we take a different approach. We bring you along with us as we travel to amazing places around the United States and Canada to help bring the Bible to life in a way that's engaging and interesting, and most importantly, makes sense. We take you to places like this. This is the confluence of the Palouse River and the mighty Snake River in remote eastern Washington. There's a lot to learn here. It is an amazing location. We're going to enjoy exploring it and bringing a lesson from the Sermon on the Mount to life in a way that hopefully really makes some sense for you.
What could possibly go wrong? Cecil B. DeMille is about to fly his drone off a kayak, while his good wife tows him back to camp. Success.
All right, super early in the morning. We nearly got stuck in the mud last night trying to make it into a remote hot springs in southeast Oregon. Conditions were not good. The road was covered in about 3 or 4 inches of just loose slime and mud, and dragging a 20,000-pound toy hauler in with no traction is not a pretty sight. We made it. We were supposed to go 36 miles down this road with the toy hauler. That was not happening. And there was nowhere to turn around. So we made it about 3-ish miles down, found a little corral that was large enough for us to pull into, made it in here, managed to do a huge Brody. I don't know, in America we call them Brodies. Spinning the truck around, throwing mud everywhere. The camper's covered, the truck is covered, but we got parked for the night and spent the night in hopes that we could get up super early when everything was frozen a bit more and firmed up so that we could make our way back out to the highway. Much to our demise, it rained about 3 or 4 times last night, so we'll see how this one goes.
So he has to ask, are you video ready? I was like, do I look video ready? And hence, here I am on video.
Not really video ready.
Not video ready.
How was your sleep, babe?
Terrible. Tossing and turning. Not enough. Weird dreams.
Yep.
Definitely gonna need a nap today. And
Do any of you other married guys wake up every morning to your wife saying, I had the weirdest dream? And then if you're lucky, she'll tell you all about it. Last night's episode, rubber boots. You'll have to contact Kayla directly to get the full dream story.
okay. I need to go finish getting ready.
Oh, it's gonna be a day. Woohoo! Here we go. All right, 4 low, and pull that out. We've got rear diff lock. Apparently, an oil change required. I just forgot to reset it last time. But we got traction control off, rear diff locked, 4 low, 20,000 pounds of sledge off and running. Yeah, that's all coming apart. Dun dun dun, that's kind of symbolic of the whole experience. A lot of shaking, loose things falling, not pointing where they're supposed to point. It's kind of how this whole let's go see a hot springs experience.
36 miles of mud road.
Yeah. We made it 3 miles in-ish of what was supposed to be 36 miles. And 3,000 pounds of mud and $30 at the car wash when we make it to the next stop. Never one to back away from a challenge, even if it's a bad idea.
Maybe you should sometimes.
And I would,
1/4 mile, turn right on Iron Highway.
in 1/4 mile, turn right on something, Iron Highway. There's a couple of people over there getting ready to go hunting with side by side, and we'll take a look at this whole operation rolling out of here. And just officially realize that we done. All right, we're gonna get up here on the pavement and then unlock and uncork 4 low and unlock all the good stuff. He doesn't like turning on the pavement.
No. Is this direction we actually want to be going?
Yep. This, my lovely bride, is the way to Winnemucca, which feels like an appropriate destination after we went through a lot of muck-up.
Why am I here? Why do I feel like an idiot? I can see clear. I will not give in to the bitterness. Thoughts are crowding in my mind. I wish that I could leave them all behind.
roadside cleanup. Scraped off 25
some
pounds.
Scraped off some mud, really heavy and wet.
And we got some blue sky peeking out. Yeehaw! All right. We started off this morning in southeast Oregon in a super remote, middle of nowhere mud pit.
Yeah.
And we made it out by the skin of our teeth back on the pavement. And we have been on a wild adventure all day, bouncing and shaking on paved and unpaved roads, hundreds of miles. We're making our way into the Nevada desert to another set of remote hot springs. What?
Much better.
Yeah, much better road. It's a little shaky holding the camera, but you get the idea. What are you feeling about this one? What do you like?
I'm excited. People say it's really cool. Saw some really cool pictures. It's really pretty in there. And yeah, it's a fun place to hang out and explore for the next couple days.
Probably give you motion sickness with all the shaking. All right, we'll show you what this road looks like, and then we'll show you how the day wraps up. Who knows? You just absolutely never know. That's kind of the cool part about living this way. This morning, we had no idea this place even existed, and today we're going to go find it and enjoy it. So, here we go. Hey, I just want to say thanks for tuning in and watching this crazy misadventure. Ended up here at a sweet hot springs. If you enjoyed this little video, then I think you'll probably like one of the other ones that's going to pop up. These are a couple of our most viewed videos ever. Take a look at each of those and see if you can figure out why people seem to love watching these particular ones. Until next time, we'll see you around. Low effort, extremely high reward.
Yes.
And I got to cuddle a bear. Oh, he was so cute. I thought about it, but he didn't look like he had had a bad morning, so you're fine. Good boy. Stay put. We bounced our way in here and fully expecting the further we get back in that we're going to be going up like a little creek and see kind of a cool creek waterfall. We've seen one picture of it and it looked like a creek. And we just came around the corner and
Both went, whoa!
it is not a creek.
No.
You're talking Niagara Falls in the middle of the wilderness.
But it was a lot
It was
bigger.
big.
A lot
It was
more
big.
roaring, a lot taller, a lot bigger. So
Yep.
but we just seen it from the road, so now we're gonna go hike it and check it out.
Yeah, we're gonna go check it out, and we'll take you along. So check this out. Oh boy. Now we know why it says allow 1 hour for the return. If only I were a small dog and could bounce down the stairs like nothing. Good boy. You stay back there between us. Definitely gonna be a thigh burner on the way up. First view of the river. There goes Tucker doing his thing. Everywhere we go, he finds sticks that are in the creek or the river, and he has to go drag the sticks out because there's not going to be any dirty river on his watch. He doesn't like the bubbles either. He's got to get those out of there. Got to have crystal clear water. He's the ultimate conservation dog. Last look before we go back up. Lots of stairs. They said allow an hour to return on the sign. I don't see it taking an hour, but absolutely awesome. Can't imagine the amazing fish that are sitting in the bottom of that pool just waiting to be caught. Next time. Oh, and there's the brown bear. A little black bear. Hey, bear. You stay there. You're fine. Good boy. Stay put. Hey, bear. Stay there. Easy. You just do your thing. I'll do my thing. sand is frozen. Oh.
This is Teeter Creek, and it looks like a nice little hike through the forest. Not sure what we're gonna see. Sounds like a little beautiful creek along the way, and we'll take you along for the hike.
All right, let's go see if we can make friends with anybody else in the neighborhood, aka little bears.
No,
Maybe I can ride a moose.
no.
Hey, bear. It's really pretty. I was not expecting when we got this far north that it would be so lush and rainforesty feeling. It kind of feels like you're walking through Oregon, and there's just thick layers of moss, and obviously get a lot of rainfall, a lot of moisture, humidity. Woo! Got a good echo. Woo! Look at that. That's cool. Apparently I like to detour for fungus. That's the second one today. With a solar panel and a radio antenna of some kind. This dog loves water. If he, oh yeah, there's some.
A bunch of
oh,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Ooh, oh, look closer right here. Some big ones.
So far.
There's some sweet trout in here. Let me see if I can get zoomed in with this camera. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then a bunch more coming in and out. Whole bunch of sweet little trout, what I'm assuming would be brook trout. Can't get a super great look. A nice place to plunk a line in the water. Let's try and get up there a little bit more. Teeter Falls.
Cedar Creek.
Oh, Teeter Creek. Apparently means you have to teeter over the edge of a rock to look for fish.
It's really pretty.
Oh, I am stiff and conjured up today. And those are some good positions. The lengths I'll go to film a fish.
When I wake, I know you are with me. In the dark, I can almost see